Self-sacrifices resonate very strongly in both our media and in our real lives. Why is that? Is it the fact that someone died for what they believed in? Because they gave themselves up to protect those they cared about? Because they willingly served, knowing the risks going in and still fought for the greater good? While all very true, they all share one minor detail. They all felt that the causes they battled for were worth more than their own lives. Today, I want to look at the top 10 self-sacrifices in video games, where someone pays the ultimate price for others. Now, there are a few ground rules. Sacrifices must be permanent, no revivals. They can't miraculously return in a post-credits scene, they can't be revived based on the player's choice, and retcon revivals are a no-no. I'm giving bonus points if the player can actively choose this decision, and judging will be based on the level of sacrifice. And I will be judging mainly on what they were able to save. With that in mind, let's honor the fallen and get right to it. Sacrifice is commonly associated with a concept of goodness. You give something up for the greater good. You give your life for a good cause. You fight for the good of others. Rarely is it associated with a villain, but here we are. Arkham Knight had a lot to live up to after the brilliance that was Arkham City. Once again, Batman encounters some of his more infamous members of his rogues gallery in this game as he makes his way through a nearly empty Gotham, thanks to a much more influential Scarecrow. Naturally, among these rogues is the vegetative vixen herself, Poison Ivy. While most of the other baddies decided to follow Scarecrow's hostile takeover plot, Ivy backed out on the offer. This kinda painted a target on her back, but she's immune to Scarecrow's spooky juice, so really if she lays low, there's no real danger for her. But there's a catch. Batman himself is not immune to the gas, and Poison Ivy uses her connection to plants to clear out the fear gas for him. But that connection comes at a deadly cost. With the fear gas cleared, her body finally gives out and she disintegrates in Batman's arms.
Alright, you know what's coming.
I don't feel so good.
There, happy now? Good, because I'm not.
Joking aside, this was an unexpected and appreciated turn for Ivy's character, considering the whole I hate humanity thing she's had going on for years. Being immune to the toxin, she didn't have anything to gain fighting with or against Scarecrow, but she only sided with bats for the safety of her plants. That motivation, plus the fact that her trees were the ones to help disperse the toxin, really adds a new level of depth to her dying words.
Nature always wins.
Thus, Ivy's story in the Arkham games comes to a close as she becomes the unintentional anti-hero that Gotham desperately needed, but not the one it deserved. Oh, now I get it. I thought they were just being pretentious. We as a species tend to be a sucker for small, cute things. Kittens, puppies, ratties, baddies, and babies especially. And I made it no secret that I love babies. Yeah, except those ones. It's a biological urge we humans have to protect the helpless and weak. That being said, the Metroids are not known for being kind, merciful, or showing any sort of compassion in any way. But the baby that hatched and imprinted itself on Samus proves to be an exception to the rule. This is further compounded by the excellent Samus Returns, where we are shown Samus's cautious thought process in deciding to spare this creature that appears to be capable of something resembling affection, all without a single bit of dialogue. The two help each other survive to the point of risking themselves for the other. Dang, those maternal instincts popping fast. At the beginning of Super Metroid, Ridley captures the small hatchling. The baby returns later on, no longer a baby as it has grown to an enormous size and drains a creature right before your eyes before turning on Samus, almost killing her. At the last moment, it realizes that Samus is her mama, and it runs away making sad chirps, almost like it was ashamed of itself. Fast forward to the end of the game where we get our armored butts handed to us by the hyper-evolved Mother Brain, and she's about to finish us off. In comes that baby to save your life and attack the Queen of the Metroids, only for it to be shot down. But it grants you one last parting gift, the Hyper Beam, in order to defeat Mother Brain for good. Samus has completed her mission, but both she and the player feel a little bit empty inside.
Until Other M cashed in on that empty feeling.
Gears of War is often stereotyped as this macho, hyper-masculine trek through an ocean of roided-up testosterone. And, well, They're right. But like many pre-millennium action movies, they sneak in some thought-provoking stuff under the radar. Believe it or not, there's plenty of times where the characters get really emotional.
Like Wheelman!
Throughout the first 3 games, you and your buds get to experience the best dude-bro relationships of gaming, that being the one between Marcus Phoenix and Dominic Santiago. Not only did this game encourage you to play with your friends in real life, but it also made that friendship extend into the characters of the game. Seriously, Finn and Jake have nothing on this dynamic duo. This leads us to the final game in the original trilogy. Dom and Marcus are pinned down, the entire team is being sworn to the point that even their beefy arms can't hurt them. So in a moment of lucidity, Marcus gets a plan. Take the biggest dang truck you can find and blow the whole lot of them up. The rest of Delta Team gets out of the way as Dom pleads with them to get the funk out of there. That's when Mad World plays. Marcus does not jump to the last second because you know he needs to see his friend's final breath to know he is truly dead. Even after seeing that explosion, he yells,
"Get off me! God damn it! Let me get him out of there!"
In the end, he saves Delta Team with one last blaze of glory. What makes this so heart-wrenching is not the infamously sad songs or the tropes in play, but rather the amazingly built-up relationship between Marcus and Dom. Seeing Marcus look on with disbelief as his friend quite clearly died is just painful. Marcus is known for his cold outlook on grim situations, yet he lets go of that for just one moment to believe a lie. The scene ends and we are left with just one message. Every victory has a cost, and nothing lasts forever.
Okay, I need chainsaws. Man!
If you've ever fallen in with a bad crowd, it's never too late to turn away and try to follow the right path. But bear in mind, that's easier said than done. You can't always escape your past, and it almost always comes back to haunt you in some way. And in the Old West, your sins are practically written on your epitaph. In Red Dead Redemption, John Marston, a ranch hand and former outlaw, has finally found a decent life away from his old gang of criminals. However, the new Bureau of Investigation isn't ready to let it go just yet. They kidnap Marston's family as leverage in order to force him to hunt down his former crime buddies. He complies, hoping he can put an end to his long and shady past once and for all, believing that ridding the world of them will finally put his soul at peace. And it seems to work. For about a few days, but then the Bureau arrives at his doorstep to truly finish the job.
Because everyone's guilty until proven guilty.
Now, Max, remember, the accused is considered innocent until proven guilty.
See, they get it.
Corrupt politics aside, Marston sends his family fleeing for safety. Knowing that there is no running, he is ready to give up everything to give his family what any father would want. He steps outside to face the soldiers alone. He manages to shoot a few down, but ultimately they open fire and snuff him out. Rather gruesomely, I must say. After a lifetime of crime and corruption, Marston just wanted to lead a simple family life away from all that. But unfortunately, nothing is ever forgotten, and people aren't very forgiving at times. Tragically, the only way to finally escape his past deeds is to turn himself in the most permanent sense. But at least his legacy lives on, in the form of very, very bizarre design choices. Soldiers go into battle expecting to die, but hoping to live. They've been trained to use their weapons efficiently to secure victory, they've been equipped with armor and gear to help them survive, and they usually go in with backup with the same training. But doctors? In the medical bay of a spaceship? Not so much. For the last 2 games, Commander Shepard has been told of the genophage affecting the Krogan species, a biological weapon that inhibited Krogan reproduction in order to eventually kill the hardy species off.
Don't you know? Genocide is always the answer.
Through the series, you hear of advancements being made by both research scientists and Krogan genetic makeup that can combat the genophage and allow for viable pregnancies, especially from your ship's medical expert, Mordin Solus. This guy's been with you since game 1, commenting inappropriately about anything and everything because he just doesn't give 2 darns about the rules of propriety. So you have grown to know and trust him. But come the 3rd game, the lack of viable pregnancies is still pretty dire, and the opportunity arises to cure the Krogan species of the genophage, thereby ensuring that they won't go extinct. However, a dilemma arises. You can cure the genophage and secure the Krogan's aid in the upcoming galactic war, which would be an incredible asset, but someone has to stay behind in a self-destructing building to input the code, and Mordin volunteers to do so. The beauty and tragedy of this particular sacrifice is that the player has to make a long trilogy-spanning series of choices in order to wind up here. Other NPCs have played a part in researching the cure, and when it comes down to it, the quirky doctor who has absolutely no filter volunteers to die so that an entire race can survive. And you have the power to say yes or no. I mean, if you're not an utter monster, usually you will choose to save the Krogan, but the rest of the game shows the other members of the crew mourning Mordin's death, and these are moments where you are left wondering, did I make the right choice? Do I save an entire race? Or do I keep the one who sings Pirates of Penzance?
I am the very model of a scientist Solarian. I've studied species Turian, Asari, and Batarian.
Very well acquainted with matters mathematical. I understand equations for the simple and quadratical.
Tough choices.
So, Naked Snake, not the snake we know, don't ask her, we'll be here forever, is tasked with infiltrating Soviet territory in order to rescue Dr. Sokolov, the designer of the Shagohod, from KGB custody. It's a solo sneaking mission, but the humble Snake has a support team with him via codec, consisting of the James Bond fanboy Major Zero, the quack paramedic, and the boss, Snake's mentor. The mission goes relatively smoothly, save for a run-in with Major Ocelot. Snake is only a rickety bridge away from saving Sokolov and completing his mission.
Wow, this game is shorter than I remember.
I'm defecting to the Soviet Union.
Oh, hi boss, wait, what?
Yeah, the boss suddenly shows up, turns Sokolov over to the GRU Colonel Vol'jin, and breaks her protege's arm and tosses him off the bridge. At first it seems like the ultimate betrayal, but little did we know.
We're in the endgame now.
That's right, this was merely the start of the first of many huge, convoluted plots by the US government to regain control. The boss became an undercover agent to get close to Colonel Vol'jin, locate the Philosopher's Legacy that I will not get into here, and ensure the success of Snake's mission to destroy the Shagohod and take down Vol'jin. However, this will all be for nothing as long as she is alive. In the eyes of the US, she is a traitor, a deserter, forever labeled as a criminal, even though everything she has done was for the sake of the US. So, what's the final move in her gambit? She has to die at the hands of Naked Snake, and by doing so, assuring the US and the Soviet Union that the CIA fulfilled their task in establishing Snake as a war hero. It all started with that simple act of betrayal on the bridge. Everything that the boss has done up to this point was leading to this moment. Master and student, defector and survivor, face to face in this beautiful field of flowers where one must live and one must die. It is among the most intense and emotional boss fights in gaming. Snake and the boss giving it everything they've got, and once it's finally over, with one final bullet, the boss's mission is complete. She not only sacrificed her life, but also her honor, and she did so gladly, knowing that her beloved Snake will carry on the legacy. The legacy involving clones, cyborg ninjas, and giant nuclear death machines.
Hashtag worth it? Okay, Horde, real talk here. You guys had one job. One job! Because you couldn't frickin' hold the line for 2 seconds, you completely screwed over the Alliance.
But we were overrun.
Yeah, cry some more.
Do I smell soiled baby diaper?
Once again, the Horde and Alliance decide that there's a bigger threat that needs dealing with. This time, it's Gul'dan and the Legion, and they meet on the Broken Shore. The Horde is going to flank and provide support, while the Alliance charges in and attacks Gul'dan from the front. Simple plan, and it appears to be going wait, is that the Horde leaving? What the heck, guys? We were so close! So, yeah, the Alliance is now forced to retreat, which Gul'dan is not keen on letting them do. Varian, realizing what has to be done, drops off the ship, effectively sealing his fate so that the Alliance can escape. Yeah, you see that, Horde? That's a real leader. Vol'jin just killed over and had Sylvanas try and kiss his boo-boos until he died Elvis style. Varian chose to sacrifice himself and went down swinging. Even in the face of utter annihilation and mockery, he looks Gul'dan straight in the eye and says,
For the Alliance.
That is just awesome. Despite having resting pissed off face that makes orcs uneasy, Varian Wrynn was such an epic king. After being beaten down relentlessly his entire life, the Ghost Wolf managed to make himself into something great and had a most honorable end. The Alliance truly did lose a great leader, and you can feel the atmosphere change afterwards. Well, I suppose it isn't all bad. Because of the sacrifice, Anduin was able to finally grow up and become a hero. And Sylvanas is continuing to make the Horde look bad with her frequent alienating mistakes and slipping down the slope to becoming a Narthus retread.
Can you tell I'm an Alliance supporter? I hide it so well, don't I?
Halo Reach is a polarizing entry into the Halo series. Not only is it the last one developed by Bungie, but it was also worked on by the now infamous studio 343 Industries, the current developers running the series. The Elites got a massive rework, they added armor abilities which some people still hate, and they added a new system for unlocks, which is a far leap from the original achievement-based system. That said, there's something that just about everyone can agree on, and that is how the story still has the Bungie quality. Unlike some games. Within this game, there are many heroic sacrifices, like George 52, who quite literally blows up this massive Covenant warship alone in one last massive hurrah. He is aware that someone will have to die and he won't let it be used, so he takes Noble Six by the hand and throws him back onto the planet so he can finish the mission. There's this innate sense of doom and gloom throughout the whole game because we know these characters aren't going to make it. The drama and tension comes from wondering how they're gonna die. Noble Six, while lacking much of her personality, has the most important sacrifice. We need to get Cortana to Master Chief, and it won't be possible while the Elites are swarming. Spoiler warning, if you're aware of the existence of the franchise, he succeeds and helps the Autumn escape, but is forced to be left behind. Noble Six, armed with very little, goes on to fight a battle he won't see the end of. It's really cool because you get to play out the death and you only die once you get overrun. There is no fail state. You die, you die. Do not pass go, do not collect life. But the narrative makes you want to survive as long as you can. When the game finally ends, you get an ending monologue that explains the importance of your actions. Not to mention, none of the other Halo games would have been possible if not for Noble Six's sacrifice. Futures are built on the lives of those willing to make that ultimate choice. Dragon Age Origins is the fan favorite of the Dragon Age series. Sure, the slow-paced combat didn't age well, and yeah, that fade level was way too confusing, but the story itself was amazing. The choices it gives you, which all start in the character creation where you get to choose your origin. Origin, Dragon Age Origins, yeah, great. Wait, where was I? Oh yeah, the choices. Throughout the game, your choices are meaningful, deciding the fates of everything from the setting to the various characters you recruit into your party and to your army. But one thing you can't decide is the fate that's been thrust upon you. In the beginning of the game, no matter what character you make, you end up joining the Grey Wardens, which, unbeknownst to you, hold some pretty dark secrets I should probably tell you. There's an initiation ritual where recruits drink tainted blood with only 2 results. Die immediately, or survive. And if you do, great! You're a hero immune to the blight and can fight back the evil Darkspawn. However,
well, in addition to all the other wonderful things about being a Grey Warden, you don't need to worry about dying from old age. You've got 30 years to live, give or take.
So yeah, die immediately, die in 30 years, or die at the hands of the Darkspawn. Well, sign me up! That sounds like a romping good time! Why doesn't everyone do this?
Yeah, you go on so many adventures and get to meet so many people. However, in the end, you have to make a few tough choices. To make a long story short, a Grey Warden must kill the Archdemon, otherwise it's not permanent, and they both die. This leaves you with a few choices. Kill the dragon yourself, let Alistair do it, which would take away the Human King, let Morrigan—
Nope, just gonna stop you right there. Anything she's planning is never good.
And you know what? There's so many options, just flub it. Someone has to die, and that someone is a person you've either played as or have been playing with for 60 plus hours. You get attached to these people in this world only for it to be taken away. We love everyone and we don't want to lose anyone. Except maybe Morgan. Yeah, I said it! Speaking of making that ultimate choice, rarely is that better expressed than in Asura's Wrath. The story of a demigod who punched, scraped, punched, clawed, and punched his way through the pantheon of Gaia, punching deities, punching monsters, and punching giant war machines, all for the sake of protecting the innocent. Seriously, forget the god of wrath, Asura might as well be the god of selflessness. And punching. Lots of punching. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Asura and his fellow Guardian generals were fighting to protect the world of Gaia, all the while he lived a happy life. But the big shot deity Deus hatched a plan that involved rising to greater power by sacrificing the lives of mortals and using Asura's daughter. Asura was obviously opposed to this, so he was branded a traitor, his wife was murdered, Mithra was kidnapped, and he was sent to hell for 12 millennia.
And what do you think happens to those deities after Asura gets out?
It does take a while for Asura to remember everything, but yeah, he goes on a freaking rampage. That's what really gets me about Asura and why I love him as a character. He's not doing this for revenge. His rage is fueled by others' suffering. Even if he's beaten to a pulp, even after losing his arms, even after being reduced to a mindless husk, never does that stop him from charging forward if it means saving the people of Gaia and getting his daughter back. It all leads to the final battle with Varden. By this point, Asura has mercilessly annihilated every deity of the heavens, except for Yasha, who had an honorable death because bro code. In order to save Gaia and free Mithra from her role as a tool for the gods, Asura must kill Varden. But Mithra then reveals the final twist. Killing Varden means Asura will also die. But even that's no reason for him to stop. Without hesitation, without remorse, without a single sliver of regret, Asura kills Varden, bringing an end to the Age of the Gods and leaving the people of Gaia to govern themselves. Why? It was as he said, there's no need for gods who only take. And with them gone, the world no longer needs him. Because he loved his daughter more than anything, he made the ultimate choice and paid the ultimate price.
I'm the Fiery Joker, and I seem to recall that at the end of the game, Asura says that he will never forgive people who make his daughter cry. Well, he does it at the end, by sacrificing himself. So the question that comes to mind is Asura turning his wrath against himself? Does he not forgive himself for making his daughter cry? And is that why he doesn't hesitate sacrificing himself in the end? It's some food for thought. From a guy who does nothing but scream and punch things.
God